What's up, y'all? It's your girl Cornelia back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. Man, it's this week. You know what? Not even, child, this year. I feel like we've been getting our butt whooped. Okay. We've been getting beat down to the ground. Dead to the bed. No, we not. Ain't claiming that. Ain't nobody doing that. But you know what I'm saying. It's been a hell of a year. And uh, the tension and the dark cloud feeling that a lot of people have been noticing, I think it's getting magnified. And I have a prediction that stuff to hey man, it's gonna get bad. Like it's you can feel the tone shift. It's not hard to notice with all of these random shootings. Yes, America has gun culture and people been getting shot. Like, we've been on that. And why we ain't talking about the Black News listeners, you know what I'm saying? But there seems to be a real epidemic in this country that's magnifying. And I am um afraid, and I won't even say afraid because I'm concerned. That's a better word. I'm concerned about what this could turn into. It's just nasty. And y'all know I've been saying that, studied 1930s, 40s Germany and whatnot. And I think on one of the last few episodes of Black News, I was saying how now we should also study Jim Crow, because there's a group that seem like they pressed to get us back there. Okay, they seem like they pressed to get us back there, and we need to be armed with information, resources, and the foresight to be able to navigate what could happen if something like that were to just magically pop up. And I ain't saying magically pop up like that's gonna be the case, but y'all know what I mean. Child, hot mess city, okay? Hot mess city, United States of America. But that's that. I'm gonna be fussing about that until whenever. But some of these topics tie into that I'm about to discuss, especially this first one where two red hat young adult men showed up on the campus of Tennessee State University. I believe it was last week, and was trying to pull that whole debate me, prove me wrong scheme that people are trying to find success in these days, right? That seemed to be the whole new wave. Debate me against all of the most bigoted shit you ever heard. Okay. The craziest, dumbest ideals, debate me to prove me wrong. Now, let me say this before I read some of the article to kind of give some more backstory to this. And maybe this applies to us because I know I get caught. Dropping people comments going crazy now. I don't be going crazy, but I be going off. But there's certain things that we will not debate. Racism is not debatable. Bigotry, homophobia, xenophobia, those things are not and will not be debatable. Hard stop. We can debate things like, oh, I think the rich should be taxed more than every other American citizen because they need to pay their fair share. We can debate that, right? We can debate, I think that Viagra should be regulated just as much as Plan B and or the abortion pill. We can debate that. I'm ready to do it. Okay? Armed with the tools. We can debate if New York got better pizza than Chicago. Hey, I'm sure people really ready to jump in that fight. We can debate on what is a better city right now in America to live in if you are trying to pursue a career in entertainment. That we can have a conversation on. We cannot have a debate on Black women have far less brain power than everybody else. No, we can't debate that. That is factually incorrect. It's racist. We're not going to do it. We cannot debate on this country was not founded on racist ideals, and racism is baked into almost every aspect of culture. No, we cannot debate that, because that is debating it will mean that we think that there's some possibility that that statement isn't true. You get what I'm saying? So when two young red hat wearers show up on the campus of an HBCU, and it's not like people don't know what HBCUs are. You know it's an HBCU when you show up. The tone is already coming in aggressive, disrespectful, and damn near trifling. Okay. So I'm gonna read an article that kind of just highlights it. It says two red hat provocateurs arrived uninvited at Tennessee State University Tuesday, set up a table on the Nashville campus, and dared students at the historically black college to, air quote, debate their positions against DEI and in favor of mass deportations. They created a scene they apparently hoped to cause, and were escorted off campus by law enforcement officials. TSU officials said the two uninvited guests were escorted off campus by campus police and TSU staff because they didn't have permission to set up a table, display signs, or use a microphone as campus policy requires. Now, a couple things. One, I'm so tired of, and this, I'm gonna put this on us. I'm so tired of us letting people run with the narrative that DEI is just about hiring practices and people getting opportunities when it comes to employment. DEI is diversity. It is equity. It is inclusion. Okay. Your grandma being mad because she was working at that company, down to the company for 25 years, and some new man got hired and was making more than her. Equity. Them leveling that pay, that's equity. Your uncle being hard of hearing, and now finally at concerts and sporting events, he can go now because they have sign language interpreters. That is inclusion. It's not just about, oh, I interview for a job. We need to push back on this. I'm tired of it. Them handicap ramps, that's DEI. Okay. Holiday Inn Express having that hotel shower with the bars in it. What do you think that is? Okay. So that, I just want to get that out of the way. But one thing to note, there are schools that are private, there are schools that are public. I do not know procedure or policy, or if there are differences between public and private institutions around who can and cannot come on campus. So I'm just going to base it off of attending Hampton University. Okay. You can't drive on Hampton campus unless you had a permit. Decal, you was on the list. You could be a senior 4.0 GPA. If you ain't had a decal, baby, you can't get on the campus. You can walk, but you got to park all the way back in Africa. Okay, because you can't park in the closest parking lot because you don't have a decal. You can't park over by Convocation. Can't get in. Where's your sticker? So by the time you pull out that folding barbecue picnic table, them chairs, hike all the way from the parking lot down to the campus, somebody, and with red hats on, somebody would have saw you. And somebody hopefully would have said something, flagged security. Hey, somebody see this. Now, it is possible that that did not happen because at TSU, I don't know. I haven't been to TSU in years. Last time I was on the campus of Tennessee State University, I was a sophomore in high school. Okay, that was the late 1990s. So I do not know the setup. I don't know if you could just walk on. But in this political climate, and considering how after that person a few weeks ago was unalived, and that immediately started people putting in bomb threats at HBCUs. I feel like these campuses need to be secure and locked down off on the perimeter. Maybe I know it's probably a resources thing, and it's only so much you can do. But after that, ain't nobody getting on here unless you go here, or unless you are authorized to visit. If it ain't your mama and them, you ain't coming on this campus. So again, I'm speaking from experience of attending a smaller HBCU, private. TSU is much, much, much larger, but when you talk about all the HBCUs in the South and this growing trend of starting controversy, we need to lock it down. I'm also proud of the students because they got them boys packed up. Okay, they packed them boys up and sent them on their way. In addition to security and the police, but there was some TikTok videos going viral where you saw the students like going off on them and telling them to get off their campus. And I won't say debating them, but checking them while they were walking away. Which again, when people are agitators, that kind of stuff don't phase them. But I'm glad to see that those young students are standing up and fighting. I am, instead of just being like, oh, they're here. No, get your ass up off our campus. It costs 50 some $1,000 to go to this school per year. Go home. Also, one more point, and I'm going to wrap this up. There are a lot of colleges in proximity to that area. Nashville, somebody said like Vanderbilt was close by. There's other schools that those two kids could have went to, but they chose to go to the HBCU. If they were really, trying to have a good faith debate, why did they just go to the HBCUs? We know the answer. There's lots of HBCUs in Tennessee. They may be trying to do this at the others, right? They could have pulled up to Fisk, Meharry. They could have been at all of them. I hope not, but I'm glad that they got sent packing. So, what do y'all think about it? Is there a way to control this? I don't think so. Because even when I said they gotta lock the perimeter down, it's always a way in, and some of these schools just too big. But I'm glad that the students standing up for themselves because we in a fight now. We in it. So you either lock in or I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. Let me know what y'all think about it. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. So like I said I was gonna do, I went over down to the bookstore and I bought Auntie book. Okay. I done bought Auntie VP's book. It was the last one in the store, and I couldn't get it from a black bookstore. There are none near me, and I was pressed for time, and I need to hurry up and get it while I was out running errands. It was a long day, so I went down to the Barnes and Nobles. It's fine, I'll try. I'm sorry, and I bought the last book in the store. Okay, the last one, and I got $3 off too. Thank you so much. I bought the book. Ain't had a chance to start reading it yet, but I'm going to lock in later this week, probably on the weekend when I got some time. I'm very busy. Okay. I'm very, very busy. And I'm going to put myself in line to wait for the audiobook on Libby using my library card. But if y'all got Libby, it's going to take, you're going to be on the wait list for 17 months, baby. You're going to be number 75,000 on the list waiting in line for 13 books. So I'll probably be able to hear the audio version, I would say by June of next year. Okay. But while we are all diving completely into the book, while we are all having conversations and dissecting the content, there is a book tour also running simultaneously. Multiple stops across the United States. I think she's going to be in LA tonight, tomorrow. Like right now, she was just in Philly. But I want to call some attention towards the New York stop and a larger discussion that's happening around this. So apparently, while she was at the book tour in New York City, some and I think I be getting flagged saying these words. So I'm going to find a code word for some pro country that's currently under attack. Protesters showed up at our book event. And we're outside, paid for tickets to get inside of the event and proceeded to yell about the treatment and what's happening in that country and prepared to yell about her while she was in the White House as vice president. She got up out of her seat and was like, okay, calm down. It's okay. blah blah blah. At one point, I believe she even said like, I'm not in in office. I'm so sorry. Like I'm not working. Okay, I'm not working. You fired me from the gig. And side note, let me deviate real quick. The same happened for President Barack Obama, where he was at an event and was being yelled at about the same thing, and he was like, "Hey, I'm not in that office anymore. Talk to them." So this has magnified a trend on social media where people are upset and mad and angry that she is on a book tour writing a book. Some people are mad because they said she was the cause of everything that's going on in that country. Some people are saying she's not helping us. Instead of helping us, she's out here selling books, right? They're mad. People upset. Now, a few things. She can't sell no books. Like I'm, I'm sorry. Everybody got a book nowadays. This black woman, who was the first black vice president in American history, first woman to hold the office, former prosecutor, state senator, attorney general, California, vice president, can't write a book about her experience. Expecting otherwise, to me, tells me that that person is completely delusional. To think having that experience and having to then run one of the shortest campaigns in history, to then be like, well, why is she writing a book about it? Baby, is it crack? Like so I'm not understanding that, because to me that just doesn't make sense. Of course you write a book after that experience. If it wasn't gonna come today, it was gonna come tomorrow. So that's that. That's one thing. But two, what you want her to do? From what I gather about politics, the people with the most power are the ones currently holding the positions. Some people were like, well, she has the ear of wealthy liberal donors, and she can give them her opinions and they can help make change. Um, yeah, because they're doing that now. No, that's literally not happening now already. You literally see a group of people in power who are working to break down processes, policies, organizations, you name it, it's happening. So I don't know what her having a conversation with outsiders going to do. The corporations are bending the knee. Like, what? Am I missing something? But what do you want her to do? Some people were like, she needs to be out in the streets. Okay, you're not out in the streets. Some people were like, she making money off our backs. Yeah, she's not working. And this might sound like I'm caping, so be it. But I'm looking at it from a perspective of, let's think about just where we're in America, and it's capitalism. You have to work, like you got to make money. You also have to tell your experience, and she also is in a position where she has to inspire. You write a book and you sell it. Like, I just don't understand. Another thing that I want to point out is that the lead red hat wearer and the prime minister of the country that the other country is in direct conflict with, again, I'm not saying on this because they was trying to flag me. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. We're right down the street with the UN. They were literally in the same city at the same time. So my question is, all of that protesting at the book signing or the book event, is it performative? Because if the people who are literally doing what it is you're against, if they're literally in the same area, why not go down there? They're literally the ones doing it. The people were saying, well, she was doing it when she was in office. Okay. She should be held responsible for what she did. Then what? The people who are doing it now still are down the street. And let me also say, I want us to be more versed, and not us Black Muslims, you know what I'm talking about, to be versed in world history, because this conflict doesn't date back to just 2019, 2020. This is a century long conflict with historical um, references, historical context that needs to be applied. So literally every president or every cabinet, every regime played a part in this. I'm so sorry to break the news to you. But again, why not go to and protest and yell in front of the people who are actively doing this now? Okay. To me, that seems very performative. It seems like I want to look like I care and I want to be passionate, say that I'm passionate about this cause, and I want to be known as a fighter for what I believe in for the people. But I don't really want to put myself in no danger, because I'm going to tell you one thing. People know that if you go to these book events, she going to be light on you. She ain't going to call the police. You going to get to yell and scream. You might get put out, but that's it. You go to that other one, they going to lock your ass right in the slammer. You going to be in the slammer and you know it. And so I would like to point back to our ancestors, some of our ancestors, because I am now being more vocal about us romanticizing the civil rights movement and romanticizing boycotts and the struggle and sit-ins and things, and how we all loop all of ourselves and all of our relatives and ancestors into the bucket of people who were standing on the right side of history and out here fighting in the streets because they wasn't. Some of y'all, they was at the house complaining. Some of them was on the bus while everybody else was boycotting the bus. I ain't gonna take. I'm a ride the bus. I gotta get to work. You know it. But I point back to them because that is literally showing us how people put their lives on the line for what they believe in. Now, I'm not telling somebody what to do, like you should be doing this. I'm just saying, if you that passionate, I want to see people go where they can make some change or some impact, make some real noise. And if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine. But I want people to realize it's obvious. Okay? It's obvious. Also, I want us to be more, I won't say accepting, I don't know what the word is, or realistic about our choices and the outcomes and the results of our actions, the consequences to our actions. If you decided and had a movement about and around not voting for someone because you didn't like their policies, and when they did not win, at that point, you, because of your choices, decided that that person is no longer a part of the solution, because if you wanted them to be a part of the solution, you would have picked them. Unless we're talking about that perpetual state of how people see Black people in this country, they see us as this everlasting mule, the work mule, regardless of who we are, where we are, what year it is, our stature, who their financial background, class, don't matter. People see us perpetually as the work mule. So it don't matter if we didn't pick you, you need to still do the work. Now, we're not standing for that. We know it. But I think that's what people think, because in a normal scenario, if I interview for a job, right, and I go through 3 to 4 rounds of interviews, I meet with the recruiter, then I meet with the direct manager, then I have a panel meeting with the whole team, then they have me do a quick assignment, then I get a call with the overall department head, and after all of that back and forth, they decide to not hire me. They either send me the generic rejection email via the applicant tracking system, or the recruiter email me a nice letter letting me down gently, which it still hurts. I get it. I'm so sorry. Once that happens, you cannot then track me down at my new gig, because now I'm working freelance. I got to find a way to make a way, and then yell at me because of what's currently happening at the company. I don't work there. Why are you yelling at me? You told me that I didn't get the gig. So I'm out here trying to make this money. Why you yelling? You didn't hire me for the gig. If I auditioned for a TV show, right? If I auditioned, I went to the first audition with the cast, sent myself tape in to casting. Casting liked it. Then I had to call back, killed the call back. Then they said, you know what, we going to bring you in with for the producers. Came in on the lot, had to check in at the lot, park, walked around, got lost because you going to get lost on when you got to audition on the lot. Baby, Fox, CBS, Disney, you going to get lost. Get there 2 hours beforehand. But I got in there, had waited in the waiting room, was nervous, saw some of my homegirls. Oh my God, girl, good luck in there. Because we trying to shift the tide like it was before when it was back when all the black actresses was going out for the same one role and they had that competitive spirit because the industry turned them on each other. We different now. We be speaking in the waiting room. Okay. Went in there, killed the producer session. Soon as I walked out, walk all the way, find my way back to the parking garage because I got lost again. My agent called me. Hey, they're gonna test you for the network. I come in, test for the network, do chemistry tests, sign the contract because when you do chemistry tests, you gotta sign the contract just in case you get the gig because ain't gonna be enough time to do all that work. We signed it just in case. Thought I did a fantastic job. 2 days later, they say, Cornelia, you didn't get the job. Dang, I didn't get the job. You crying devastated. You mourning. You thought this was the one. You thought this was gonna be the series regular gig that took you to the next level. You came out here for. That's what you've been working for your whole life. Then the TV show aired, and the team who made the decision didn't like the series regular that y'all picked. You watching the show, you're like, this sucks. And you pick up the phone and call the person who didn't get the series reg and say, this show sucks. It's not what we thought it was going to be. Why is this show so bad? Baby, I didn't book the gig. I'm not the series reg. You said I wasn't good enough for the series regular. You made me go jump through all them hoops. I had to learn 10 pages of copy for the first audition overnight. You gave me the copy at 6 o'clock. The self-tape was due the next morning at 10. You made me do all this stuff, drive all the way across town in traffic. I didn't get the gig, and now you yelling at me because you don't like what the current cast is doing. Does that sound familiar? That's what y'all doing to Kamala. That's exactly what y'all doing to Kamala. She didn't get the gig. So now you stuck with what you got. You got to watch the bum cast, and then you got to hopefully they get renewed for season 2. Okay? If they don't get renewed for season 2, that's on you because you should have cast it differently. I'm just saying, if we really want to make an impact, we have to be strategic about where our focus is going. Focus on the people who doing the damage. That's all I'm saying. Let me know what y'all thought about it, though. Did you get the book and start reading already? Because like I said, I'm gonna dive in this weekend. I'm gonna get started. I got another book that I'm gonna stop reading now, and I'm gonna go to this one. I was reading The Personal Librarian. Now, okay, my homegirl recommended. I was reading The Personal Library. I'm gonna put that down. It's a really good book, but I'm gonna go pick this one up. So I'll let y'all know so far. But what do y'all think anyway? Hit me up. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. And lastly, I want to spend a moment and show some respect and condolences regarding the passing of Asada Shakur this past week. She passed in Cuba, where she was living since she fled the United States. Black liberation activist. She was in Cuba. She had political asylum, and she's been there since she got the political asylum after 1979 when she escaped from prison in the United States. And this was confirmed. Her passing was confirmed by her daughter, which again, I don't know if people really expected or really realized how old Asada Shakur actually was, because she was in her late 70s. But very prominent figure within Black culture, especially when you are talking about the liberation of Black people, that whole 1960s, 70s, early 80s movement around just the liberation of Black people and everything that people were going through politically at that time. So the thing that happened is she was involved in a gunfight with the New Jersey State Police troopers following a highway stop. And allegedly, they said that she was the one who killed the police officer or unalived the police officer. She maintained her innocent self-defense, um, but unfortunately, she was found guilty of murder, armed robbery, and some other crimes. She was sentenced to life in prison. She escaped in November of 1979 when members of the Black Liberation Army um, came in as visitors and broke her up out that thing. They stole a van and dipped. She dipped. And then reappeared in Cuba in 1984 where she was given asylum by the Castro regime, Fidel Castro. And some people right now are on social media asking like why she wasn't given asylum in African countries. Why did she go to Cuba? I think a lot of people, and I won't say don't remember because our generation, we weren't really alive when Cuba was open and then shut down the way it did. We weren't around for all of that drama. And if some of us were, we weren't old enough to be like our age now where we kind of understand politics. That even if you watch old movies from the 1940s, 30s, 40s, 50s, Americans used to go to Cuba and be kicking in. Them black and white movies, they was always in Cuba. Child, we going to Cuba. Cuba was a different experience, but then the tide turned, politics shifted, and eventually over the years it became shut down. And again, I haven't sadly read Asada's biography. I had it and I lost it now. I don't know where it went. I think somebody borrowed it and they didn't give it back. But it is my understanding that due to what she was going through as a Black person in this country and due to the political beliefs of the Castro regime at that time, and in alignment with that, they were like, come on, girl, you go home and stay here. Okay. She stayed there indefinitely and they would not give her back. Over the years, there have been efforts by different people within politics trying to have them deliver her back to us. And each and every time they was like, nah, we good. So I think that speaks for itself. But overall, she left a lasting legacy, a lasting impact. And not to say all of us will be in situations like that because that one was for the books, right? But it's just a good lens and it's a good spotlight on some of the things that Black people in this country have went through and had to go through as like recent as the 1980s. Y'all, that's not that far away from here. It's not. So rest in peace to Miss Assata Shakur. Condolences to her family, to everyone that cared and loved her. And hopefully she rests in peace. Let me know your thoughts about it. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about, air quote, debaters showing up on HBCU campuses and trying to agitate the current students. We also talked about people protesting at book events and the intention or strategy behind that. We also talked about the passing of Miss Assata Shakur in Cuba. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Cornelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is cornelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, And I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.